you might be wondering, how is it going? Well, it's going. I wouldn't say it's going especially great, but I also wouldn't say that it's totally ruined. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I am Samantha. I am a freelance writer and creative producer, and this is my 12-week year, 6-week update. So I am halfway through the process. If you have not seen my original video outlining all of my goals and aspirations, strategies, and just some big, deep thinking, I will link above and below. So you might be wondering, how is it going? Well, it's going. I wouldn't say it's going especially great, but I also wouldn't say that it's totally ruined. We can talk about the big issue here. I set my goals all wrong. Maybe you knew this when you were watching me in those past videos, or maybe you've done this yourself in the past. Being as this was my first time going through all this, some of this stuff is just not gonna work. It wasn't sustainable. I was being consistent about things, but it just wasn't working. So instead of starting all over, I decided to just change up the goals that I currently have. So going over my 4 original goals, they were to build up my YouTube account, organize my freelance finances, build up a fitness routine, and create and build up a writing portfolio. So just looking at these, maybe you don't see the problem, but let me explain the 2 key areas that I was totally missing. None of these had clear action or a good measure of success, other than kind of just checking off. There's a couple reasons for that. Let's just go through the goals and I'll tell you how I am revising them. So my first goal was to build up my YouTube account. This is still one of my first few videos. So if you are here again, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I promise the more I do this, the better I will get. But what does it mean to build up a YouTube account? Just make videos? Just go through the Part-Time YouTuber Academy course I was taking? I needed to have a better goal. So here's my revised goal. Create at least 6 longer form videos and to get to 50 subscribers. So I've only got 6 weeks to do that. So I still think that that is a pretty, maybe aspirational goal, but that's the whole point of goals. So there it is. I've got a clear action, which is to create videos, which just means that they're not shorts. And my measure of success will really just be if I post those videos and that people view them, and then hopefully that they will subscribe. Ultimately, I kind of just want to be getting into the routine of filming, writing, publishing videos so that I can get more creative and focus on the stuff that I really want to have here full time. So my second goal was to organize my freelance finances. It's a mess. I have ideas about what I want to do, but as far as organizing my finances, when I originally made the goal, I had a strategy that was something like print out your receipts and meet your tax manager. And in reality, I needed to do much more than that. And I wasn't even sure if I needed a tax manager. In fact, I'm still not sure. But meeting that person would be the tip of the iceberg. I really need to dig into the actual iceberg. What I'm actually going to do in the next 6 weeks is to establish and maintain a comprehensive financial tracking system for my freelance income and expenses by the end of the 12-week year segment. So that's kind of a lot of lofty words, but here's what I've got in mind. Last year, I was working on something similar for my personal finances. And I went on to Etsy and I found these people who are amazing at Excel and Google Sheets. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not shabby in those areas either, but they were selling templates that you can use to set your own budgets, to set your own pretty much anything and keep track of your expenses. So what I'm going to do is just utilize one of the database templates that I purchased and reapply it to my freelance business. Here's an example. So I'm going to go in and just start filling this stuff out. I mean, I'm going to look for a better credit card so that I can do my business and get points or rewards or whatever back. But this will be my template. This is what I'll be doing. That's the clear action here, is that I'll be establishing and maintaining the system, updating it regularly by the end of this 12 weeks to have something going. And if it's not working out, then I want to figure that out. And the measure of success for that will be more accurate and efficient financial management. I'm super pumped about it. As soon as I kind of came to me when I was printing the receipts, I just thought, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. Of course, this is the way to go. So my third goal was to build up a fitness routine. And I kind of already had a fitness routine. I just wanted to do more of it. And that does not a good goal make. I wanted to home in a little bit more on that goal. So how can I make building a fitness routine a little bit more specific and a little more catered to me and what I actually want to achieve? So my new goal is to establish a consistent fitness routine by working out for at least 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, for at least the duration of this 12-week year segment. And this routine will include a mix of cardio exercises, strength training, and flexibility workouts. So the clear action here is that I have just outlined the frequency, the time frame, and the types of exercises I'll be doing. I'm hoping that this takes some of the pressure away from necessarily attending one specific class every single day, and also lower the instance of injury, which I definitely have been working on. The measure of success is the consistency in routine and completion within the time frame. So the fourth goal I had was to create and or build a writing portfolio. And this was the main goal that I was just like, not touching. I write for a living. And when you're trying to write a little bit more, or write different things and you do that thing for a living, I think it kind of can get a little muddled. And this is where the specificity in your goal making really makes a difference. I have revised this goal just a little bit. My new goal is to establish a consistent writing routine by dedicating 1 hour to writing every weekday for at least the remainder of this 12-week year segment, and write at least 500 words per session. I think I can probably split this up. There's no reason, just thinking about my day, that I shouldn't be able to devote at least an hour to getting this done. I have so many things that I want to write. Blogs, NaNoWriMo is this month, scripts for YouTube, scripts for my work, that still counts. Plus articles, which I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to start pitching. So there are plenty of different avenues. I'm not gonna narrow down the genre or type of writing. I just want to be writing. The measure of success will be, again, the consistency and routine and the writing output. You know, these words will accumulate whether I publish them or not. Obviously, publishing is part of the goal, but honestly, the main goal is just to write more and build up this writing routine, build up this writing portfolio. So even if it's just 500 words, it may take a full week to actually get to where I want to be in terms of creating the piece that I might submit for publication. So lots of ideas there, but definitely a more specific goal for myself. So obstacles. I ran into some obstacles that definitely got me thinking about the goals that I set, how I was measuring them, if I was going to get better at things, what was the whole point of this? I ran into those pretty quickly. One major one was that I got a cold. It wasn't good. And that took me out of my entire headspace. I think it is always so shocking if you have not been sick for a while and then you do, just how much it impacts your body. I started getting sick on a Saturday and I was pretty much fully out of it for a week and a half. I still went to work every day, so I was still having to do a lot of things, but I pretty much wasn't leaving the house. I had to cancel some things I had planned. So it just kind of made my entire schedule really messy. And that's not a great way to be when you have so many goals that you're trying to achieve that there's no flexibility in them. One of the things I was able to do when I kind of restarted, at least with my fitness routine, was that I went to a strength class instead of a full-on cardio workout, because I did not have the lung capacity for that. And that was actually a great way to kind of get back into it. But I definitely wasn't writing. I wasn't going through any of my finances, wasn't even thinking about them, except as they related to if I can afford to go to a clinic or not, if I had anything crazy, and buying the various cold accoutrements that you feel like you have to have. A lot of things shifted. Other things I ran into were just especially with the intermittent fasting. You know, if you have an event, that can absolutely get in your way. Doing the time frames that I was trying to do. One night I, didn't eat dinner until like 9 p.m., which made my fasting window, if it was going to stay as long as it typically was, which is 16 hours, meant that I wasn't able to eat until about 1 or 2 p.m. the next day. And I had gotten pretty much in the routine of, being maybe to 11, 12, but after that, it really starts to impact me. And so that was really tough to figure out. But I did it. I've been very consistent on that front. And so that has been nice. Printing certain things with my receipts, all of that I've been able to do, but it made me realize even more what a complicated situation it's going to be to actually get all of my freelance, income and expenses in one place. So I thought I was kind of on my way with that, and definitely kind of realized the problem was a little bit more involved. And that is why tax time is such a freaking headache. So I'm really trying to make that easier on myself. During this whole thing, of course, I'm still reading the 12-week year. I'm still looking at what other people have done, what their goals were, how they achieved them, how they have overcome their own obstacles. And I thought about 5 ways that I can apply some things that I've learned to my next 6 weeks and also to any future segments of the 12-week year that I do. So far, I've really liked making these goals, tracking them. I like the condensed timeline. So I think it's definitely something that I can continue to do. I'm going to use my writing portfolio since that was the one that kind of just exploded for me in a not good way to illustrate some of these points. So one of the main things was that you have to make your goals specific. I had some broad goals and I know why. I was thinking, let me have a broad goal and then I'll get specific in the strategy. But that makes the goal harder to achieve or harder to see your progress on. Building a writing portfolio, well, what does that look like? What does that mean to me? And so I didn't have a clear vision of that. I needed to understand for myself and lay out what exactly I wanted to accomplish with that. Was I trying to get better with grammar? Was I trying to write better YouTube videos? Was I trying to write better scripts for my job? There was just so many things that I was not specific on that it just kind of made the whole thing a little bit blurry. The next thing is measurability. I know why I didn't do that. I did not want to fail. I watched a ton of videos, and I think I even said in the previous video that I was going to try and give myself grace. Well, just kidding. I don't give myself any grace. I did not want to put a goal out there that I did not think I would be able to achieve. And I didn't technically, but I made it almost impossible to measure if I am actually achieving these things or not. There needs to be something other than just a box you click off. I want to have consistency in things, but I also want there to be a number. So an example with the writing portfolio, 500 words a day or per session is a way for me to look at that goal of building a writing portfolio and see how I'm moving forward. I'm not arbitrarily meeting certain milestones. I'm actually hitting this one every day, and the measure of success is that I have at least 500 words a session to put toward whatever it is that I'm writing. The third thing is achievability. You have to ensure that your goal is realistic. I wasn't necessarily used to writing regularly, in that I don't have a writing routine. I don't have an up-to-date portfolio. So going from 0 to 100 was way more involved than I thought it was going to be. And especially because I write for a living. At the end of the day, if I hadn't done any writing as a part of this goal, then it was just kind of, well, just a little bit lost. I would just be like, well, I've been writing all day, or I've been working, I'm tired, I have no more creative energy to devote to this. And that's not helpful when you're trying to achieve a goal related to the thing that you're doing. Instead of starting out with 2,000 words, I'm starting out at 500 words. Most likely that's less than a page a day. So for me, I feel like that's achievable. In fact, part of me thinks that's nothing, but doing it every day and being consistent about it is the goal. The fourth thing is relevance. And this is where you want to keep what you're doing aligned with your broader goals. So when I'm writing, for instance, I don't want to limit myself to a certain type of writing. So I want to be doing blog writing and article writing, which I've mentioned before, but I also want to do some creative writing. And that means I need to practice. As weird as that sounds, I think all of these things benefit from practice, and writing is one of those things. So when I say practice, if my overall goal is to get better at creative writing, then some of my sessions of 500 words definitely should be directed at some form of creative writing. I can apply that to blogs or articles or scripts, or specifically essay writing, prose, or something in the fictional vein, or nonfiction, but in a more narrative way. So I think in the future, if I want to niche down more into this writing goal, and I really want to focus just on articles, then part of my writing process will be specifically writing in more of an article style. So the last thing, and maybe one of the most important things I found, is to have a time or duration set aside for each of these things. You'll notice that in some of my goals now, one of the things that have changed is that I'm being more specific in saying I will work out for 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And even in the writing, I will write for 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. That's me saying the exact same thing in two different ways. A deadline or a time frame induces kind of a sense of urgency, and it makes you feel like you need to get this done, or you can do whatever you can do as long as you have spent that 60 minutes or that 30 minutes, whatever it is that you are committing to for this goal. And I think it makes it easier to put in your calendar and block off specific times for. All of these things are just small parts of helping ourselves get closer and closer to this goal. If your goal is like mine and you're just really trying to build a routine, or like that's the idea, then consistency is incredibly important, and being consistent with the duration that you're going to spend on that goal is totally part of the process. So the next video on this subject will hopefully be the conclusion of my first 12-week year segment. And I'm really interested to learn how I'm able to come back from some of these pivots, if I'm able to make more progress on certain goals, or if they continue to kind of languish. And if that's the case, then what the heck happened? But it has been such an incredible experience already. Honestly, I think the duration of saying 12 weeks is something in and of itself. It makes you feel like you have to go hard on these particular things. And I'm not gonna lie, I love that idea. But having even smaller time durations that you are committing yourself to makes the whole thing seem very, I don't know if righteous is the word, but I'm gonna use it because it feels righteous. It feels like, I'm doing something that matters and is productive and something that I just feel like I'm growing from. So I'd love to hear if you've had a similar experience or a completely opposite experience, because now that I'm halfway through it, I can absolutely see how these things happen. So hopefully the next video will be covering all of those things. Love to answer any questions that you may have about it, so please let me know. And until then, good luck on your own journey, and I will see you in the next video.